But your party is afraid of Wike. That's what is happening. Your party is too afraid of Mr. Nyesom Wike. He has foiled all of you by the jugular. Can you hear me, sir?
Very well.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, a little bit up.
Good. Can you hear me?
Now. Thank you.
Yeah. I said I've heard all the platitudes.
Yes, good. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I said I've heard all the platitudes about the meeting yesterday. But your party is afraid of Nyesom Wike. That's the read of everything that happened yesterday.
Hello, my great and wonderful people. We welcome you once again to our today's episode of this program. And today we get this video for our team. We're going to be saying one quickly the review to you concerning the things we're going to be saying if they happen right now for inside this country, Nigeria. Remember yesterday when it be Thursday, the PDP, which is the People's Democratic Party, come together to hold their neck meeting. Yes, to look into the matters when it be say if they happen within the party and also Nigeria. And for that very meeting, Nyesom Wike when it be say he formed his own group during 2023 general election, also appear for the meeting, even Atiku Abubakar when it be the presidential candidate, and so many other people. And for that very meeting, they discuss a lot of things, even the issue of Nyesom Wike when it be say he work with APC and Bola Tinubu. As we talk now, he become the present minister of FCT under APC. Never a time when it be say Nyesom Wike hide his own identity and his own association with Bola Tinubu and APC government. And for that next meeting, a lot of people they expect say the issue of Nyesom Wike will be addressed even as it is present for that meeting. But to the shock of everybody, a lot of things happen in opposite direction. And as we speak now, this very morning on Arise News, the PDP National Publicity Secretary, when it be say in name na Debo Ologunagba, come outside for Arise News for this very morning show, and trust Rufai Useni, the public mouthpiece and also award-winning journalist, given waiting a body need to hear. I want me to listen to this very interview. I'll come back for more.
Till Debo Ologunagba, PDP National Publicity Secretary. Mr. Ologunagba, thank you very much for staying with us. Well, okay. Now let me ask you.
Good morning, Dr. Abati.
Yes, good to see you. Now, the 98th NEC meeting of the People's Democratic Party has been described as a victory for Nyesom Wike, the minister of the FCT, who along with members of the G5 frustrated the party during the 2023 general elections. And people were hoping that maybe at the end of that NEC meeting, the focus will be on the party, addressing its own affairs, disciplinary issues within the same party. But the people who left the party, are the ones now crowing that the party is talking about reconciliation, that it was a family affair. What does that say about standards within the party? And then the communique that you read out yesterday dwelt more on the APC. So I mean, the APC people have just said, look, your party is shambolic. That's why you have left the log in your own eyes and you are busy talking about economy, misery, trying to remove the log in other people's eyes. So, I mean, it looks like an anticlimax in terms of general expectations among the public. How do you explain, the outcome of that PDP NEC meeting?
Thank you very much, Dr. Abati, and good morning for having me. And again, I think people have their rights and their opinion about what they feel about it. But what we need to establish is for us to have a political party or institution in any environment, in any country, there must be the peace. And so PDP cannot operate in isolation of the environment in which we are as a country. So it will be out of place if PDP does not even talk about the general insecurity in the nation, the economy that is in shambles. And so if APC can gloat around and say, oh, PDP should be talking about itself and not about the economy, then obviously that it means what we have described APC to be is now being confirmed. A party that does not have the interest of the people at heart. But back to our neck. What happened at the neck of the PDP is a confirmation of the capacity of this party to, in a very trying moment, to take itself back up and begin a process of reconciliation. In any human endeavor, and particularly in a political party, where you have competing interests, competing ideas, competing considerations, and contestation of interests and ideas, it is important that you constantly have a basis for you to reconcile. Don't forget that this is the first NEC meeting after the elections. And what is expected of any party, like the PDP, that is the truly democratic party in this country, is to look at its affairs and consider all the issues, having regards to what happened at the last election, even though we have our own reservation about the outcome of the election. But we are now here. And what we did at that meeting was to focus more on those challenges that we have, particularly the ones you referenced about anti-party and the challenges of the party. And what we did, and people can decide not to look at those, the communique with respect to the party, and rather pretend as if the party never discussed its own affairs. You recall in my briefing yesterday, we mentioned specifically that the reconciliation and the disciplinary committee of the party is being reconstituted because we have a standing committee in those two committees. Some members of the party committee had left, some are dead, and so for it to bring back life, we must reconstitute life. And NEC, in its wisdom, consistent with the PDP tradition of ensuring that it constantly reforms itself, reconstitute those committees. In addition to that, we look at our constitution. We said, yes, of course, because we're dynamic, because as a party that is constantly evolving and improving its processes, we extended the mandate of the Constitutional Review and Amendment Committee, headed by former Governor Udom of Akwa Ibom State, to receive new amendment proposals and reviews. And we said, go ahead, go back to the drawing board, calling for more memoranda, and let people come in and bring in their own suggestions so that we can reform our party. So that's what we did. If the APC, in an attempt to try to cover up and find issue to divert and deflect, that will not help them. Because whether or not they admit it, or they talk about PDP forgetting to talk about itself and talking about the economy, I don't know what else we can be talking about if we don't talk about the economy, if we don't talk about the uncertainty, if we don't talk about the ill-advised policies that have brought excruciating pain to Nigeria. So that's what the PDP NEC focused on, and of course all the organs of the party, and unity, recognizing that you must have unity to begin to perform the role of an opposition and, of course, to help the country.
Okay, well, talk about unity, and you had mentioned, Mr. Logangwa, welcome to the show, by the way. You talked about the fact that you had reviewed the last elections and some of the things that perhaps I'm sure you'd have talked about what worked against the PDP in the last election. Some of those factors were within the room yesterday. Did you have an opportunity to address that? Because one of the outcomes that a number of people were expecting was some form of measure or at least direction in terms of disciplinary actions for those who worked against your party in the last election, members of your party, or those who went against the constitution of the party. Was that discussed, and what was the outcome of that? We didn't seem to have a clear road or clear information around that.
I thank you very much for those observations. We did. But again, you need to follow up the process. The neck of the party is one where you discuss the details of what happened. The night before, we had a caucus of the party. The caucus had a detailed conversation on this. And it was those conversations that brought about the recommendation and the agenda proposal to the NEC. Those issues were thoroughly discussed. Of course, we won't discuss the issue about who did what and who did not do what at a NEC meeting. What we did is to set up the apparatus for that. If we're doing reconciliation or disciplinary procedure, there are processes. It's not under the clerk light. It's not in the setting where you have about 500 people coming into the NEC to discuss about what measures. That's why we set up the reconciliation. PDP is a party of process. PDP is a party of program, of constitution. And we try meticulously to follow that processes. Of course, because you have divergent views on issues, because a party is comprised of several interest groups and individuals with different backgrounds, with different considerations. Of course, you must have contestation of ideas of interest at some point. But we won't go into a NEC to tell you that, yes, because we have not even received a report of the committees. We know that the moment we have those reports, there will be further consideration and necessary steps will be taken in the right direction. Not because we just want to punish people, but because we think we must hold people, one, accountable, two, that we must begin to build this party and ensure that we have processes that are clear and that people and members of the party can understand it and know that it's in the interest of the party and the individuals to ensure that they abide by the principles enshrined in the Constitution and the provisions and, of course, the policies and programs of the party. So we did discuss those details at lower level where more detailed information were received, and, of course, those reports will be referred to the appropriate committees. And, of course, anti-party was not just at the national level. There were other issues at different states, at different levels. Of course, it will take time, and we need input of the state chapters to bring it into the committees so that we can have a holistic approach to all the issues. And that's what we're doing. And again, the array, the attendance at the meeting yesterday point to one fact. The fact that, yes, this party is organic, this party is truly a representation of Nigeria, and you see the caliber of people that came in. And you saw the challenge of the party being put forward, and the fact that we had, because again there were predictions, Armageddon, there will be confusion, and to the disappointment of those who had wished that it to be so. That's why they can't even see the issues and the issue that we raised concerning the economy, about the country, and again particularly about our own processes of reforms, of integration, of unity, and ensuring that the resilience and the ability of the PDP to come together in trying times to continue to play this role in the interest of the Nigerian people.
Sir, I've heard all this platitude you said, and good to see you. But your party is afraid of Wike. That's what is happening. Your party is too afraid of Mr. Nyesom Wike. He has hurled all of you by the jugular. Can you hear me, sir?
Very well.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, a little bit up.
Good. Can you hear me?
Now. Thank you.
Yeah. I said I've heard all the platitudes.
Yes, good. Go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I said I've heard all the platitudes about the meeting yesterday. But your party is afraid of Nyesom Wike. That's the read of everything that happened yesterday. Because you cannot move forward without addressing the past. What your party did yesterday, I'll give you an illustration of what your party did yesterday. Somebody had come and had slapped you many times, beating you blue-black. Then you call the person in the room for a reconciliation meeting. Then the person sits in the room there. Then he says, okay, we will not talk about the person's need for apology. Let's move on. All right? In the interest of peace, we'll come and talk about it later. What it means is that the person is more powerful than you. Because if you don't set the record straight, then you don't have any conversation. So Nyesom Wike has held all of you at the jugular and is playing you people for what he likes. That's it. That's what he see. Disprove that, sir.
Thank you very much. My job is not to disprove you, sir. My job is to analyze and tell you exactly what it is. Number one, I do not agree with your characterization of the party being afraid of an individual. Look, the PDP is bigger than an individual. It's an institution, and it's 25 years old.
But can you prove that?
In this party, look, I'm just...
Can you prove? No,
so
sorry, would you respect that? Can you prove that the PDP is actually bigger than Nyesom Wike as we speak? You can't prove it because what we saw yesterday was to placate him.
No. I just said to you that that's your characterization and you're entitled to that. But I need to tell you what happened at our process. And then I think if you give me only 1 second, I'll probably be able to put my thought together so you can connect with me, so we can have a conversation. I'm not here to prove to you or to, particularly you, because you made that allegation about I need to prove to you. I don't have to. What I need to tell you is what happened and the processes. And I was certain that. Number one, it's on record that this party, we have president, vice president, that had left this party before now. The party survives. So to come with the background that an individual is bigger than the party would not be completely correct, and I'm sure you will agree with me on that. Number two, this party tried to work on processes and try to ensure that the principle of democracy exists in all its processes. And then when you talk about somebody, and your analogy, I'm going to use that. So somebody comes in, slaps you like multiple times, and comes back and says, reconciliation. Reconciliation is not a one-day process. It's not a 100-meter dash, it's a marathon. And I give you an example. Even in wars, countries see talk. Ukraine and Russia, in a couple of months, they have an exchange of prisoners of war. They're at war. But what does it mean? It means they're talking. So you can't preclude talking because somebody has hurt you so badly. Then you won't talk. Even in your domestic affairs, in marriages, when there are challenges, people quarrel. They say things, sometimes unprintable, but they still come back to reconcile. The basis for any human existence and for progress is the capacity to reconcile. Look, when you see other political parties in this country, we must compare like for like. Look at the Labour Party with all the euphoria. It is not a party, it's properly so because it has no capacity to even manage its affairs when it comes to issue of disagreement. And you can see that. And they have so much to learn from PDP. Even the APC, when you talk about being peaceful, that is a piece of graveyard. We don't need that piece of the graveyard. We want to discuss issues. But we don't need to come into the public to say, hey, you have done wrong, we have done wrong. That's not it. We're going to say,
but the APC
collectively,
is better than your party as we speak
wrong,
today, sir.
We're wrong in certain things, and that's my challenge.
The APC is better than your party as we speak today because
yes, sir, I'm with you, sir.
All right, my great and wonderful people. I believe say una don't take una time to watch the video by una self. No wahala. I will leave una to share una opinion with us on the comment section. I know say we don't take a lot of time. I just need to leave you to watch the video from the beginning to the end so that you will feel understand the details of this interview and the vision according to this publicity secretary of PDP concerning PDP and Nyesom Wike, the article and every other one of them. Share your own opinion with us in the comment section, even as we draw the line of this very broadcast here. We will see you again when we see you. Remember, we love you all. Bye-bye.